Hello and good morning, everybody. Today is February 29th, Leap Day 2024, and I am enjoying some coffee. And I thought I would go back and watch the 2004 E3 press conference for Nintendo. Now, this was around the time when they were showing the DS stuff, and I think they were still doing some Game Boy Advance stuff, but I think it was also the introduction of the Wii. But it's been a while that I've watched it, so I felt like enjoying my coffee and hitting play on this and reacting with you guys on this old E3 press conference from Nintendo. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit play here, and yeah, let's have a good time and enjoy some coffee this morning. Thought that was Fire Emblem for a second, but I'm not sure now. Alright. Got Samus. It would have been too early for Metroid Prime 3. This is 2004. This has to be 2. Alright, Resident Evil 4. Fantastic game. I haven't played the remake, but the original still holds up. Nice. F-Zero. Great game. Paper Mario, another great game. Yeah. Star Fox Adventures. Yeah, this was Nintendo was at it right here with the GameCube and the Game Boy Advanced. They were doing well. So I think if we get we get Reggie first. All right.
My name is Reggie. I'm about kicking ass. I'm about taking names, and we're about making games.
All right, Reggie. Thank you for that. You can go back to your cave now. Yeah, I think this is Metroid Prime 2. Yeah. We're still holding out on Metroid Prime 4, guys. Coming soon to a Switch near you. I'm sure of it. It's kind of weird, the no music. Like, it's a little jarring. At least give me a little, like, darkness theme, something. What about the multiplayer? It's November. These were great games. Metro Prime 3 on the Wii was really good too. It made good use of the Wii remote. Yeah, it's a little weird. There's no music. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. People were excited. People were excited for that, for sure. Alright, let's hear what Reggie has to say.
We like games with big stars and big explosions.
That's it, huh, Reggie? Oh boy. Yeah, this game was, let's say mixed on how people felt about it. I mean, I love Star Fox 64. That game was so good. It was extremely short. The fact that you could beat that game in like 20, 30 minutes is crazy. And then this coming to the GameCube, like everyone was excited, and then you got the on foot mission stuff that a lot of people did not like. There we go. I think it just corrected itself on the audio. Yeah, see, like all that stuff looked great, and then this stuff was, a lot of people didn't not care for it. I know we had like the tank stuff in 64, but a lot of the on-foot stuff was not great. This November as well. There's a lot of stuff coming out in November. Holiday season, baby. That's when you put stuff out.
And we like games so scary. They keep you up at night.
Like Luigi's Mansion. But this is probably Resident Evil 4. The music transitions are really weird. Okay, yeah, RE4. No audio though. That's great. I'm sure they were working it out. Oh boy. Yeah, was there really no audio for this thing? Or do I need to find a different video? Yeah, no, this thing is running. That's really weird that there was no audio. Were they maybe playing like a copyrighted song and it got removed from YouTube? I wonder if that's what happened. This was such a great game, man. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think it was a copyrighted song or something. I hear the remake is really good. I just don't know if I'm ready for it because this game looks old enough to where it wouldn't scare me compared to like the newer Resident Evil games, and the remakes are just terrifying. I don't do horror games well. I really don't. So this was probably the scariest that I would get into playing something horror related. Oh, this game was so good, man. There's a reason that game was ported so many times to so many different consoles.
A new day for me and a new day for Nintendo. So let's get a couple things straight right off the bat. Part of my job is finding a way for you, the game experts, to have
That's me,
fun.
the game expert. I'm a game expert.
At the same time,
I don't have any cards,
I understand if you're among the terminally hip, Nintendo isn't your only choice for gaming.
Terminally hip?
But maybe what you've already seen.
You're talking about like PlayStation and Xbox fans?
That we're serious about expanding what we do. We also understand that we're not going to run our company just for hardcore gamers.
Oh.
There are gamers out there who aren't as knowledgeable as you. Gamers who aren't your age. Gamers who don't have your tastes. Gamers who live for Mario and Yoshi.
I tell myself I live for Mario every day.
It's Nintendo's job to make sure we satisfy all the gamers and to do it better than our competition. We know that this is your third stop on the press tour over the last 24 hours.
Yeah, that's right. They had already announced the PSP over at Sony, which we should definitely watch that one too, because that one was interesting.
Is a manufacturer in Japan who wants to capture every one of your entertainment dollars, transporting all your content between all your electronics devices on their memory sticks.
Ooh, that's a shot at the Memory Stick Pro Duo's proprietary memory from Sony on the PSP, man.
Who doesn't care what you do as long as you do it on their operating system.
Shot at the Xbox. The first Xbox.
We're not that company either. Over the years, I know you've heard a lot of Nintendo people say, we're all about the game. Well, guess what? We are. Whether you're talking about Donkey Kong or Tetris, Madden or Mario,
Let's talk about
Metal
Tetris,
Gear
Reggie.
or Resident
Let's
Evil,
have a deep
he
discussion.
with the best games wins. Always been that way, always will. As this company moves forward, you're going to see more Nintendo games and different Nintendo games, and most importantly, new ways for you to relate to your games. But let me tell you one other thing. This is not a promise for what we're going to do sometime in the future. It's what we're doing right now. And if you don't realize that,
Is this it?
listen closely.
This is a
While
DS
others are
announcement.
talking, Nintendo is acting. Let me ask you a question. What company right now is driving category sales? If you said someone other than Nintendo, you're wrong. We have momentum, have had it since late last year. And if you don't feel it yet, you will. I'll promise you that.
When the Wii comes out,
Now,
yeah,
I'd like you
the
to welcome
GameCube
a
was
guy
not
who's
as
been
strong a seller as the
essential in building
PS2.
that momentum, George Harrison.
Oh boy, George Harrison. When he was still with Nintendo. This was before he went to PlayStation. Oh no, wrong Harrison.
Reggie mentioned what's
Never
going on in
mind.
the market right now, so let's take a look. This graph shows the industry sales.
You guys like
Nintendo
graphs?
over the last
This is
two
what these
quarters
events used to
compared with
have
the previous period.
before the Nintendo Direct
Now,
stuff.
you don't need an
You get a
MBA
lot of
to realize
graphs
that
and
this
stuff
really
like
isn't
this.
a pretty picture.
It was
Half year
boring.
of negative
The
growth.
average consumer did not
Now,
really
let's look
care.
at what Nintendo's done in the same
Did not really
time
care about this kind of stuff. This was for,
In the
know,
last 3 months of
stockholders
last year,
and such.
up a whopping
which this is who these
21%.
press conferences initially were really for.
And in the first quarter of this year, despite the fact that we're competing with our own success, last year launching Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, Zelda
Ooh.
Wind Waker,
So that was
and even
2003.
Game Boy Advance SP, we're up another 7%. So without Nintendo, there would be no growth. On the console side, we see plenty of business yet to be done in this generation. And unlike one of our
I wouldn't say
competitors
any, man. The
who is
PS2
anxious
was
for this generation to
doing
end,
incredible,
we're intent on fully playing out our hand.
especially with the
It's how
Grand
we
Theft Auto
always play
games
the game
coming out first on it.
because it works. Right now, industry growth is being delivered by Nintendo, only by Nintendo. And that's because we're focused on the here and now. Here's the up-to-date scorecard on the console business. Over the last year, Sony has sold through about 6 million machines. That's a decline of about 28% from the year before. Microsoft moved about 3.3 million.
But it definitely went up.
sorry, 3.2
It definitely went
million
up after
machines,
2004.
Essentially flat with the previous year.
I mean, Sony
During
dominated
that
this
same period,
this period.
Nintendo sold through over 3.3 million units of GameCube, a jump of 41%. And yes, that is good for second place. So when you run the software equation, you get a very similar answer. Nintendo GameCube is more than holding its own. So far in 2004, we've sold more games per system than Microsoft, and we're closing in on Sony.
Yeah, there's a reason the
Overall,
Xbox disappeared
three
once the
systems
360 came
combined
out,
sold about 38 million units in this generation.
which was just the
We
following
believe
year
that
after
the potential
this.
for this generation is more than 55 million units. That means there are almost 20 million units still to be sold. And you have to ask yourself, what will sell them? Well, this is the fourth system that Nintendo has introduced and managed to the back half of a console cycle. And we've learned that success here always relies on the same three things. First, we've all burned through the hardcore early adopters, the gamers who want the most extreme challenges. They want them to occupy them for weeks or days at a time. The late adopters want something else. They want pure entertainment, entertainment that's easy to get into, and often just for a quick burst of time. And second, they want familiarity. They want names and characters from past generations that they're comfortable with. And finally, and most importantly, they want value. They're hunting for bargains. Major play.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause real quick. I think right here, one big thing was after they saw Sony's presentation and the PSP, it had been years since anyone had introduced anything in the handheld market. So they were definitely a little worried about that, because now Sony entering the handheld market meant that, there was another player on the field, and there were a lot of people that love PlayStation games already for the PS2, and getting to see that those games were coming out on something portable definitely scared Nintendo a bit. So I know they haven't even discussed the DS, and we all know the DS outsold the PSP anyways at the end, but I know there was some fear here that just like they were worried now, and we know the PS2 ended up dominating this era overall, and then the GameCube, and then the Xbox. But yeah, I get why they're trying to take those pot shots at Sony for the memory card and stuff, but it was still a really great handheld and one of my favorites. But yeah, let's keep going.
For minor pay. Now, any of these three factors can win the market share in the back half of a console cycle. But if you've got all three going for you, this is what you get. We dropped the Nintendo GameCube price in late September. After 30 days, sales were up 50% over the same period in the previous year.
Yeah, you'd be surprised what happens when you
After 60 days,
lower the price
they were up
significantly on stuff.
58%. And counting through the holidays, even though we had already begun to run out of inventory, we sold more than 73% more GameCubes than we did in the prior year.
That'll happen.
Now, this chart does two things. First, it shows you why Nintendo is driving growth for the industry. And at the same time, it sets the bar for sales performance from our console competitors. Can those competitors grow 73% in their first 90 days after a price drop?
Yes.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
More
once that
importantly, though,
PS2
we
hit
suspect it'll be
$100
quite
bucks.
some time until someone can match our $99 price point. The value advantage in a value-conscious market clearly remains with Nintendo. Now next, we're fully deploying the familiar franchises that are so popular with the mass market. At the top of our briefing, we showed you 3 games designed to move the souls of even the most...
Man, the way these guys talk, like, can you imagine this in the Nintendo Directs nowadays? It would be a yawn fest. Like, it's just, these are the wrong people to have up on here. Reggie was great, but like this dude right now is dragging, man. He's dragging.
Donkey Kong Adventure, a new Pikmin, a move for Advance Wars to GameCube, and Mario making 2 appearances in Mario Party 6 and in Paper Mario. In all,
just
Nintendo's
Paper Mario
GameCube
2
library will grow to more than 400 games this year. And the common factor among all of them is fun.
A lot of them are licensed movie
Now,
games.
new ways of interacting aren't just limited to the GameCube. Now, as you're all aware, Pokemon has again taken the market by storm in Japan with the new Fire
great
Red
remakes.
and Leaf Green editions.
We could have had those on
Sold
Switch,
through nearly
but
2.5 million
nah.
copies in less than
That's what they
15
said.
weeks.
Nah.
But there's a brand new kind of appeal here too. The ability to trade your Pokemon with your friends using a
Wirelessly.
Game Boy Advance wireless adapter.
Screw your link
This opens
cables.
up whole new horizons for the creators. And in fact, you'll soon be seeing and playing wirelessly with more than a dozen titles. It's great software and innovation like this that have pushed every competitor out of the out of the portable game space. And 9 serious competitors.
that was years
have
ago,
run a
though.
Game Boy in the past 15 years,
Yeah,
but 9 have failed.
early 90s. After that, you didn't
Game Boy
really
doesn't
see
just
anything.
lead the handheld gaming market.
Not until the PSP.
It owns it. The Game Boy franchise this year is also making a significant revolution because of this feature: Game Boy Advance Video.
Yeah,
No new
SpongeBob.
hardware or accessories needed.
I
to
got
play
some of
back
those. I got that
pre-recorded
Pokemon one.
material from these small video packs.
The resolution
first
was
title will
horrible, but it was
include
pretty dope
multiple episodes of Pokemon
being able to watch
and
those.
others on one pack. Well, will it sell? Initial orders are
Sort
already
of.
over 2 million units.
Sort of.
You can look forward to soon to material with a decidedly older appeal, and will have significantly larger memory capacity to allow even more video playback.
But they will still look terrible.
Well,
But they're
wireless
great,
connection,
but they'll still
video
look terrible.
playback really widen Game Boy's appeal. But in an important sense, that appeal is already expanding. It may surprise you to learn.
Yeah, so, they're clearly trying to push now the whole video stuff and wireless because, the PSP talking about UMD movies. And if you look, and we'll probably actually end up looking at the the PSP or the Sony press conference from this same year as well, and yeah, them talking about being able to play music on the PSP, watch movies. They showed Spider-Man 2 running on it, and it looked great. And we all know how the Game Boy Video cartridges, the videos look on it. Not so great. Even on the small screen, it was kind of rough. But yeah, they're trying to push this stuff really because they know that, you know, Sony's making this move with this PSP that's all-in-one entertainment solution. So yeah.
That 1/3 of all Game Boy Advance SP users are over the age of 18. And our classic NES line coming in June will bump the age appeal even higher.
That's
The
right,
new
you old
limited edition
farts.
classic NES hardware
Buy one so you can
and
play
8
your
classic
old games.
for $19.99 are sure to be a hit with gamers over the age of 25.
I'm over 25.
Now let me take a moment to
Those are
talk
great
about
titles,
the
though.
newest competitor in the handheld game. There is no doubt in our minds that the PSP will have some initial appeal for exactly the demographic in this audience today.
Yep.
But in this election year, let me put it this way. By the time the PSP gets on the ballot next spring,
Oh God,
more than
really?
25 million Americans will have already
Goodness.
voted for Game Boy Advance.
Okay.
Now, if you're asking whether PSP can catch Game Boy Advance, maybe we should first ask, can the PS2 catch Game Boy Advance?
Yes, they can.
Since its launch in June of 2001, Game Boy Advance has sold more units than PlayStation 2 in America.
It's also much cheaper. It's much cheaper than a PS2, so that kind of makes sense. Yeah, all this
For that
All this
matter,
talk is
since
nonsense.
its launch, the SP all by itself has done exactly
this
the
thing
same
that costs half the price is
So we
selling
sit today
better.
with
What?
a roughly 100% market share of the handheld market. Will that decline? Well, it certainly can't go up. But that loyal base of 25 million Game Boy Advance owners is just the first of the many mountains that Sony has to climb. Game Boy Advance SP is built to be tossed in the backpack, carried in the briefcase, or even dropped in an airline terminal.
It's a great system.
With no internal drive, it stands up to a lot of abuse.
I got mine right here that I just dropped.
And when it turns on, it lasts. The lack of a moving media also means that the gameplay powers
It turns on at last, but I need a
We
new
expect our
battery,
battery
so
life to significantly outpace.
I need to get a new battery for this
outpace,
thing.
Sony's.
Great handheld though.
So we think that's enough to be a deal breaker for really true game players. Now finally, those of you who've been around our industry for a while realize that Game Boy at heart really is a platform like any other, built on the back of exclusive must-have titles. Game Boy never would have built its initial audience without the appeal of Tetris and Super Mario Land.
He's entered a wind tunnel.
Never would have leapfrogged into the sales stratosphere without Pokemon.
Yep.
These are games that launched
You can
only
thank
on Game Boy.
Pokemon for Game Boy doing as well as
Sony,
it did.
just like Nokia and others, have to find a killer application before they can truly appeal to the mass market. So bottom line, Game Boy set an all-time record last year. We sold through more systems than any other year in our history. And now, with the wireless play and the video playback, suddenly that appeal is that much greater. In the end, though, it's still about the games.
I need to see what those
And this year, you'll
Game Boy
see
videos are going
Donkey
for
Kong
nowadays.
Country
I think
2,
last I checked they're like
F-Zero
15,
2,
25 bucks.
Legend of Zelda, Mario Advance, Mario Party, and Mario Pinball, all coming to Game Boy Advance.
All great games.
Together, there's a heavenly
yeah, the
array of
Minish Cap,
hits
man,
for both
it's a
Game
great
Boy
game.
Advance and Nintendo GameCube. The stars truly are coming out.
All right, so gameplay. Paper Mario 2. Oh, man, really? Cuts out again? It's so weird how the audio is just mixed bad. Pikmin 2, nice. Legend of Zelda, Four Swords Adventure. And then you had the one with the Link to the Past, which was incredible. I still have that one. That one's great. Jungle Beat. You know, I never played this game. It just doesn't seem like a proper Advance Wars. Geist. Oh, man. That takes me back. Right. Yeah, the Donkey Kong Country games on Game Boy Advance were great. They're just copies of the Super Nintendo games. Mario Pinball. Where's that Mario Golf? Give me Mario Golf. I don't know what's up with the audio, guys. I think they messed up on it. Yeah. Yeah. Seems busted. I'm sorry about that. Remake coming soon of this game. Yes. Another great game. They really need to remake that one. Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. Fantastic. Man. Yeah, this was Nintendo in their prime, man. They were knocking it out of the park with these titles, and they were doing so good. I'm glad to see Rainbow Six 3. Tales of Symphonia, yep. Great RPG. Killer 7, man. Didn't they say there was gonna be a remake of that? I want to double check. Day of Reckoning. Nope. Give me WWE SmackDown versus Raw or SmackDown Here Comes the Pain for sure. Were the great wrestling games. What was going on there? Beautiful Joe. Yeah, I used to love the old NASCAR games back in the day. Just play the heck out of them. I never looked into why they stopped making the college ones of the football games. Never ended up looking into why they stopped the NCAA games for football.
What we've talked about today are can't-miss products for Nintendo GameCube and Game Boy Advance. Games you'll be playing very soon. But there's something else in our future.
Here we go.
I know that a lot of the portable gamers that we have, and there's millions of them.
Portable gamers, that's me.
It's about changing the way you play.
I'm a portable gamer.
I think that the dual screen is the next leap forward. It looks like it could be a really neat concept. It's two screen systems, never been done before. Well, I think everybody else is going to have to catch
It
up.
has been
All
done
my friends
before.
are talking about the dual screen.
Game & Watch.
I can't wait for it to come out. I can't wait to see it.
God, I love the DS. It's such a great system.
Well, the wait is over.
It's right here.
It's Nintendo DS.
Oh man, that horrible design. Look at that thing. The thing looks ungodly. It looks so tiny in his hands too. It looks like a DS Lite.
From the time we announced
Man.
its code name, you've known these initials
Looks
to represent the
completely
most
different from the
obvious
original
feature,
DS.
dual screens.
And this is the same year they released
But
it
that's
too.
not what the initials stand
So
for.
the fact
to
that they
us.
went in and redesigned
DS
it
has a much larger
before the holiday
and
season
more
is
relevant
crazy.
meaning. DS, Developers System. In creating DS, we've given the world's most talented game makers new tools to work with.
That's things people always thought Nintendo DS was for just Nintendo dual screen. But no, it was developer system. It's just it got adopted into dual screen because of the dual screen stuff. But yeah, DS stands for developer system, which yeah, sure. That's appealing.
With new ways to express their imaginations. And of course, in the end, new enjoyment for all of us. The result is this. DS not only changes
I can't tell if it
Nintendo,
looks like it has a
it
Game Boy Advance
changes
slot or not.
our industry. You'll find Nintendo DS represents a brand new way for players to relate to their games and to each other. Listen to the experts.
Yeah, it looks like it has the opening on the bottom. Man, that system looks
Nintendo came down
different.
and
That's
presented
crazy.
the DS platform to us just about a month or so ago. I think everyone was in shock.
When I told the functions of DS to our creators, they were very excited and eager to work on new development. They really liked DS.
The introduction of Nitro, or the DS, is going to
Nintendo
allow
Nitro.
us to take handheld gaming to the next level.
The history of the platform in the last 10 years is that improvements were made on only certain functions.
I wonder why they got rid of the
It's been a
black
long time
screen
since the platform
area.
itself
I wonder why
changed
they got rid of that.
With the DS, I think they set the next standard across the board for all kinds of things.
It's going to generate such a new way of playing games that is going to generate automatically more emotion, more excitement.
It's gonna make
more
you
fun to play,
cry.
which is basically what
Or
we
it's
are
gonna
here for.
insult you.
Things will totally change. We will think anew what we want to express and what kind of things we want players to enjoy using this platform. We're expecting to change the contents of the game, how to play the game, and how to make the game.
The DS will continue Nintendo's great success in the handheld gaming market.
It's very innovative technology that is clearly focused on immersing the consumer into the gaming experience.
Yeah, it was revolutionary for sure. It was great.
As a whole, the development community already understands what's going on here. I like to think of it like buying a car. Admit it, your left brain looks at a vehicle in terms of the numbers. What's the horsepower, the towing capacity, the 0 to 60? That's our competitor's approach. But your right brain is different. There's only one question out there. Sitting behind the wheel, where will this baby take me? In other words,
That's like a very business approach of saying like, hey, our system's not as powerful as a PSP, but who cares? Because, you know, it's all about the games. And I mean, ultimately, yeah, people love the DS for what it was. It was, you know, on par with graphics with the N64. Probably a little bit better, but yeah, that was their whole thing, is like PSP's going for graphics, even though it had a lot of really great games too. You know, Patapon, Loco Roco, all those games look great as well. But yeah, that's a very business approach to be like, you know, who cares about graphics? It's all about, you know, your right brain, what that's thinking and stuff. It's just a little funny.
do you want to go just a little bit faster down the same streets you've always driven, or down a new road to places you've never seen before? That's the difference with Nintendo DS. Let me explain how this new journey is going to happen. Up to now, most of what the world knows about DS are those two screens. Today, it's my privilege to tell you the rest of the story. But let's start with the two screens. Each is programmable in 2D or 3D. The choice is up to the game designer. This opens a wealth of options for the developers.
Not 3D
and they're
as in,
totally excited about it.
I think just 3D graphics is what he means,
The
or
3D
2D.
quality is simply beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of you remember
It's kind of weird for him to say
how you
3D
felt
like that,
the
though.
first time you saw Super Mario 64 on Nintendo 64. It was a breakthrough that took the industry by storm.
New roads, people. New roads.
But
Super
this
Mario
is
64.
Nintendo DS action.
New stuff, not old
playing
stuff.
on our new portable system, just as you'll see it on the show floor tomorrow. Isn't it exciting?
Very exciting. It was a bummer it didn't control as well as the
Mario sees
64 one
himself
did because
in
of the
Nintendo DS,
joystick,
and he feels
and instead
like
using the
flying.
directional pads.
Now, how exactly do these screens get used? Well, again, it's developer's choice. But for starters, one character can stand 2 panels high, or take 2 different perspectives of the same battle, or monitor constantly available maps and menus.
That was the biggest thing, was being able to have
Here's
like
a
your
brand
menus
new
and
Metroid
stuff.
game playing on Nintendo DS.
That was wild, man. They're like, what?
The same way you'll be playing it tomorrow.
You just had to control it with the stylus, all the aiming and stuff, but that's still really cool that
moves beyond buttons.
you had this on
Just
the
tap the
DS.
screen where you want to fire. Metroid's missions have always been nerve-wracking, but now they're non-stop because all of your map positioning and weapons changes are done on the fly. It's just awesome.
It was awesome.
But two screens are just the first of twos that define DS. Let's move on to the next pair. Two media bays. One accommodates DS software, easily holding games with 1 gigabit of data and well beyond. The other plays all of your favorite GBA games.
This was what Nintendo was so great at doing back then, was backwards compatibility with their systems. It all started with the Game Boy Pocket being able to play, the Game Boy Color being able to play all of your Game Boy games, original Game Boy games on it and such, and then, moving forward until eventually they stopped doing that. But this was what they were really great at. It was a way for people to be like, well, I don't really want a DS, but it plays Game Boy Advance games. That kind of future-proofs it, and I can play all of my Game Boy Advance games on it. So that was really smart of them to do that. And who knows what they're going to do with the new Switch system or whatever it's going to be called. Is it going to have a bay for Switch games, or are they going to be the same cartridge, same size and everything like that? It's very interesting to see what's going to happen, because even the 3DS had DS backwards compatibility. So yeah, that was really smart of them to do that, and I'm sure it helped a lot of the DS sales.
That's right. Backward compatibility means an instant library of over 500 titles. And it also welcomes a host of different accessories to enrich your game experience.
Web browsers.
Next,
get some RAM in there.
The most exciting two for game players. Two incredible new forms of player control. This is where the connection to your game really changes. The first is touchscreen, responding to either a stylus or to your fingertip. It's
but preferably a stylus.
Transformative. Whether you're inputting data onto a software keyboard or actually changing the direction or viewpoint of your gameplay, it's truly unique. The combination of two screens and touchscreen stands to reinvent gameplay. You can only find this on Nintendo. You can only feel this on Nintendo. And besides touch, there's talk. The built-in microphone can be married to voice recognition programs. That means
voice recognition
voice
programs.
And only your voice can control the play.
There's someone in there that was very excited about that.
Together, touch and voice opens vast new realms of game interaction. If you're looking for the future of gaming, look at the interface.
Like blowing into
Finally,
the microphone.
My favorite too, dual wireless capability. The first is a proprietary application that allows up to 60
Oh, they don't want to
to
play with me.
And
Or just being a
communicate
creeper and
together. The range extends up to 100 feet. Think about different seats in an office, a lecture hall, an airplane.
Chat.
Who says they can't all become connected
Picto
playgrounds?
Chat was amazing.
And with Nintendo DS, local wireless takes on a whole new definition. Specifically, imagine instant chat and draw transmitted exactly like you created in your handwriting. Your little works of art will look the same way on other screens as they do on your own. And DS will even connect for you, springing to life from sleep mode once you're in range of someone else transmitting in group format. But what if your friend is more than a few feet away? Say, a few time zones away.
What?
No problem.
This was wild back in the day. Wi-Fi wasn't that big a thing.
Wi-Fi means you can connect via the net. It's beyond online. It's no line.
Sure, Reggie.
In all,
a lot of homes didn't have Wi-Fi back then, so it was still something. It was still something people were wondering how you were going to connect these systems to Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi was not normal the way it is nowadays. You walk into a home, you walk into a restaurant, everywhere there's Wi-Fi available, usually wherever you go. So the Wi-Fi capability option was great, but there were some downsides because, you know, they were like, oh, and I'm sure he'll probably end up talking about it, but, you know, there were T-Mobile hotspot areas, certain cafes or Starbucks or stuff like that. And then you had to buy, if you wanted it in your house and you didn't have Wi-Fi, you'd have to buy this little Nintendo USB Wi-Fi thingy that you would plug into your computer to create a Wi-Fi network for the DS, and even for the Wii as well. I think it was for the Wii too. I can't remember, but for the DS for sure. So yeah, it sounds great, like, oh, Wi-Fi, but it's like, wait, I don't have Wi-Fi at home because it's not something that's really readily available yet. It wasn't really that big a thing yet.
And to each other. There's no reason to take my word for it. Instead, listen again to the developers who are already working on it. Their eyes are fixed firmly on the game horizon, mapping entirely new routes with Nintendo DS.
We look at the Nintendo DS.
You know, they're all on Picto Chat.
Portable gaming. It's more advanced, fully 3D. The two screens allow for a new game mechanic.
I think the brighter display, and I think this new memory format is really going to set the standard for how handheld devices are going to be created in the future.
What I like best is the touch panels. The idea of just touching is wonderful.
Yeah.
It's the touch panels.
The idea of touching is wonderful.
Games that took a very complicated operating system and input system may be more player-friendly by using touch panels. The function will enable us to try more interesting things.
And one of the most exciting parts of playing video games is competing with your friends and your family, and to be able to compete with a live person is just ultimately the most exciting part of a product. The fact that a format like Nintendo DS supports that kind of multiplayer is tremendous, because it really allows games to get to the next level.
We can use 4 screens when played by 2 players, maybe even 6 screens or 8 screens. The number of screens increases rapidly, and that kind of possibility of expansion makes us excited.
The developer opportunities are right now what's really driving a lot of creativity in the studios. How are we going to use the wireless? What can we do with 2 screens?
DS download play, man.
Not the touch screen.
The Mario Kart stuff and other games that offered that was awesome. So people that didn't have the game could still just do DS download play and play along with you, which was really cool. Like, it was limited, but it was really cool, the DS download play.
What you've heard and what you've seen don't begin to tell the DS story. You can't start to appreciate it until you get your hands on one starting tomorrow. And even then, it's just a start. The benefits of DS will be rolling out for months and years following launch. And when will that launch come? We're targeting release of Nintendo DS in both Japan and America this year.
That's crazy, man. Just announcing it that year. Think about it nowadays, how
Australia in the
sometimes you hear announcements so far out.
It will come to the market. It will come to the market with a new name and at an affordable price. On the show floor tomorrow, you'll see a wide range of demonstrations. Many of them, in fact, will become retail software. The change that DS represents, and indeed all of the new Nintendo, is happening under the leadership of our worldwide president, Mr. Satoru Iwata. Please join me in welcoming him.
Miss him a lot. That guy was great, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Nintendo was proud when we introduced the plus key switch with the NES instead of arcade joysticks. Proud of 2-player gaming with the NES. and 4-player gaming on Nintendo 64. Proud of that analog joystick and the Rumble Pack and True 3D.
Yeah, Rumble Pack.
We are proud we established portable gaming with Game Boy. All these advances are now industry standards, all make us proud. But I think we are most proud of this.
What is this? Oh, just another DS.
All of those
Where's that audio
innovations
again?
changed games, and so will Nintendo DS. DS is not simply new. It's not just more functions or higher specs. It is different. Of course, Nintendo DS is not the only change in our future. That same word, different, also defines our approach for our next home system. It won't simply be new. It won't simply include new technologies.
I don't know if they
Better
show it
technology is
here.
good, but technology is
I think they do,
not
right?
enough.
I don't remember.
Today's consoles already offer fairly photorealistic expressions.
I don't know, 2004.
Simply beefing up those graphics will not let most of us
I don't think
see
they show it
a
until next
difference.
year.
So what should a new machine do?
This is just a really early
For
discussion
both game
about the
creators
Wii.
and game players, new machine needs to do much more. They must offer an unprecedented play experience, something no other machine has delivered before. The definition of a new machine must be different. I want you to know that Nintendo is working on our next
Okay, so
system.
they're just gonna
and
talk
that
about working
system
on
will
it.
create a gaming revolution.
Nintendo
Internal
Revolution.
game development is
Man, that would have been
underway.
a great name for
When
that system.
the impact of the new home machine comes, our revolution will be there. I suppose I could give you a list of our technical specs. I believe you'd like that, but I won't.
What
for
if
a
you took
simple
4
reason.
Game Cubes and you
They
taped them together?
really don't matter.
They don't matter. All right. In the end, they did not because
The time when
Things sold like
horsepower alone
gangbusters.
made an important difference is over. From this time on, we must create something more unprecedented experiences, the same way we have with Nintendo DS. So let me repeat. Work on Revolution is well underway. When you see it, you will be excited because you will experience a gaming revolution. And with Nintendo DS,
a different
video
way to
games
play.
will be changed.
Yep.
This week, I invite you to enjoy the great new experiences we are creating for Nintendo GameCube and Nintendo Game Boy Advance, and of course, the wonderful new Nintendo DS. Thank you very much.
Oh, is that all of it? No.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Iwata.
I didn't think so.
I hope you've all enjoyed our program this morning. But before you leave, I'd like you to step inside one more world for Nintendo GameCube.
Oh, man. God, I love Twilight Princess. This game is so good. Yeah, what a beautiful game. I don't know why it gets so much hate from a lot of people. Man, they didn't even show any of the wolf stuff, which is crazy. I think that's what a lot of people didn't like.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Shigeru Miyamoto.
The Wolf Link stuff, but honestly, Twilight Princess is up there for me. As a happy man.
I'm not Link, but I do know him.
He's my friend, and he's backstage right now.
The Legend of Zelda never stops changing. And this game is no different. We are now taking you to a world where Link has grown up, a world where he will act different and look different.
Turns into a
wolf. In order to grow, Link must not stand still. And neither can I. So, thank you. And goodbye.
That man has a lot of fun. That man has a lot of fun. No title yet. It wasn't until next year that they gave it the official Twilight Princess title.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've spent my entire career marketing products to teens and 20-somethings. And I learned a long time ago, there's no BSing that audience.
You know what's coming up?
They want great product and they want great value.
This is about to come up.
They want cutting edge and they want legendary. They want the best of the past and they demand what's absolutely right now. Nintendo is delivering all of that. Zelda, Capcom's Resident Evil, Pokemon, Mario, and Nintendo DS all boost the momentum we're carrying into this E3 through the rest of this year and well beyond. We're giving players what they want for both GameCube and Game Boy Advance, and they're rewarding us with more market share. Funny how that works. As you've seen, Nintendo DS is not standing still. As a 10th serious competitor decides to make a run at Game Boy, DS raises the bar on portable gaming before they even get started. Nintendo DS is a third way to play. It defines its own category. It reinvents portable entertainment, and so will Nintendo's revolution. I hope if we've done anything, it's to show you that this is a new day for Nintendo. We remain all about the game, all about the gamer, or in other words, all about you. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Oh, okay. No Game Boy Micro. I guess that was 2005 that they announced that. Yeah, this was still super early. Yeah, I think it was 2005 where they did a showcase like this and you saw a bunch of DS games like Animal Crossing, Mario Kart, and stuff. So yeah, I think that was the following year. But man, yeah, this presentation, there's really some great parts of it, and then when they get into the heavy business stuff, that's where it's kind of like, oh man, like it's not like that anymore, you know. But yeah, guys, that's crazy. Yeah, when they get into stuff like this, it just becomes kind of boring. That's why they cut so much of that out of the directs now, and even the later E3 press conferences that they would do, they just stopped talking numbers like this. They maybe gave it like a couple minutes, but it wasn't as long as they did back in the day. But yeah, that's wild. The Nintendo DS was coming out that year with a wholly completely different design than what they were showing there, which I'm very curious as to when they decided that they needed to change the look. Maybe people were talking about how bad it looked right there. So they made that change, but yeah, the DS ended up becoming one of those systems that to this day is still a fantastic system. The original one, you know, despite its flaws and the way it looks and the quality of the screens and stuff, still a great handheld. But obviously the DS Lite and the DSi XL and stuff are the ones that you really want to get. But it was wild, man. And then hearing them just talk about the Nintendo Revolution, which ended up becoming the Nintendo Wii. Yeah. You know, you think back now, like, can you live in a world without the name Nintendo Wii? Probably. I still think Revolution was a lot, you know, cooler, but I get the whole going the Nintendo Wii route because it's Wii Play, Wii, you know. I get it, but it was such a funky name at the time that people were like, oh man, you know, what are they doing? But obviously the Nintendo Wii ended up becoming such a huge thing and outselling everything like crazy. Like those things were hard to get a hold of. And a lot of people would get a Nintendo Wii just for Wii Sports. Like they wouldn't buy any other game. It reminded me a lot of when you would hear that, you know, older people would buy an original Game Boy with the pack-in Tetris, and that was it. They wouldn't get anything else. They wouldn't buy any other game. Tetris was all they needed, something they could just put in their bag and play Tetris when they wanted to. So yeah, that was like that a lot with the Nintendo Wii, and that's where it struggled, was with software, because there were a lot of, you know, garbage titles that came out on it, a lot of little compilation collection stuff that just didn't do so well. But Wii Sports was, you know, what did it for them, and it's an incredible game, you know. But yeah, I think next time I want to take a look at the PlayStation 1 from this year as well, just to see exactly how they showcased the PSP. I just remember, the only thing I really remember was them showing it off, and then excuse me, and then showing Spider-Man 2 on UMD running on it, and then like they showcase it that way. I think that was 2004, but yeah, that's cool. It's always great to go back and watch these things, and thank you guys if you stuck around for the whole video. But yeah, I'll definitely have maybe, I don't know, probably not tomorrow, maybe next week we'll do the Sony press conference one. These are fun to go back and watch. It's just always entertaining to see where these systems first came out and the way they would talk about them, and early footage of games that ended up becoming games or games that didn't end up even coming out. So it's really cool. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. The weekend is coming up. I am out of coffee, so I'm gonna have to go maybe make some more. But take care, guys, and thank you for joining me on this Nintendo E3 press conference from 2004. 20 years. It's been 20 years. Wild. Take it easy.